This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Sterling Fox, joined in studio by Marlene Williams and Allison Howard, both from the Board of Directors of the BC Seniors Living Association. Marlene's the boss, actually, if truth be known. We were talking about the three basic levels of care provided across our province in seniors communities. We talked about independent living, which is fairly self-explanatory. And then you talked about assisted living, in which when an individual requires two prescribed services, then that level that person is now on is categorized as assisted living, right? So the only category left is one, and Marlene, you've already said, well, it's got several names, and this is confusing for us. You know, we're just trying to do the homework here and get it right, because there will be a test, so help us sort out the confusion. Long-term care, or complex care, or
residential care.
Residential care, and they all mean the same darn thing.
Fairly close. I mean, there's different aspects of how a community may deliver those services, so they may call it a bit differently. And there is an organization in British Columbia that deals with the long-term care, and that's the BC Care Providers Association. But long-term care usually means when a senior gets frail enough that they need 24-hour nursing care.
Okay.
Meaning they cannot direct their own care, and their physical, sometimes, mental as well, statue changes to the point where they do need to have a nurse or an RN or an LPN on 24 hours a day.
I was just going to say, so that if that's the case, then Allison, in a long-term care facility, there would always be some kind of medical professional available.
Always, 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Varying levels from an LPN to an RN, depending on the community itself.
Okay. So do most seniors communities include all three of these options, or how does that usually shake out, Allison? Would most of them be independent with a little bit of assisted and some long-term, or I would imagine there are communities that don't have anything but just one?
Yes, that's very true. Through our membership, we find the majority of the British Columbia Senior Living Association members offer independent with some assisted living services. A campus of care is not as prevalent in our membership, although there are communities that do have it.
And that would be all three on the same piece of real estate.
All three,
okay.
so that the community member, the senior, can age in place, and so that they're not having to move around a lot, which is a lovely option.
Right.
But often when people are getting to the stage where they're needing long-term care, there is generally a move involved, and our membership tends to focus mostly on the independent lifestyle with some supportive services through assisted living.
Okay.
It's interesting because the Fraser Health Authority did a study, a 5-year study on seniors that had assisted living services provided to them, whether they had it in their home or whether they had it in the retirement communities. And the report came out last year. And one of the studies showed that when seniors lived in a independent or assisted living retirement community and had all the services that were provided, the nutrition, the meals, the socialization, everything that you get in those communities,
right,
those seniors tended to stay out of the long-term care buildings 3 to 5 years.
Is that right?
So, and
Isn't
seniors
that something,
and seniors that stayed in their home tended to move from their home right into long-term care. So they kind of missed the whole portion of have fun and active and socialization. And so we found that a very interesting statistic, because it is proven that when you have a goal in life, when you can give back to the community, when you get up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to, to help the community center with their children today. Oh, I'm going to go volunteer at the SPCA.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to go take a painting class because that's always been my love. When you have motivation and when you have passion, it keeps you active and it keeps you healthy. And so I think that's what happens in our communities where the seniors are very vibrant and very independent. It gives them almost a sense of purpose again. And not that you wouldn't have that in your own home, but I saw it how my mother changed when she moved from a home, which she'd lived in for 37 years, into a retirement community,
right,
which she went into kicking, screaming, and fighting. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Right, for sure.
And within 3 months, she had a better social life than I do.
Oh, okay.
And loved it, had so many friends. She gained some weight, and she lived in that community until, unfortunately, she passed away last fall. at the age of 97 years old, and she moved in at 84.
Oh my! And I suppose though, Allison, in some cases, the senior doesn't come to terms even with considering a community, a retirement community, until some fateful event has occurred. There's been a fall or an illness or an operation, and the docs say you can't go back home. You just you're not well enough. You're going to need to be cared for a while. And so in other words, they're sort of being forced into it rather than voluntarily just enjoying the walk, and they have no choice. And I know from surveying that a lot of people who wait until those events, well, as your mom did, 3 months later, well, I should have moved here years ago. This is fun.
It's so true. We know that our members are changing people's lives every single day and changing them for the better. And at the beginning, it might be a small change, as Marlene said. Maybe it's that mom or dad is eating better. And then maybe they actually create a group of friends and they're not socially isolated anymore. Maybe they're getting out and they're doing Nordic pole walking, or they're taking advantage of a swimming program that's either in the community or you're going out to do the swimming. They start to live, as Marlene said, on purpose again. And when you live on purpose, you live a higher quality of life. And we find one of the greatest challenges that we find, quite frankly, in our industry is that people wait for the catastrophic event.
Right.
And they miss 3 to 5 years of active, purposeful, engaged living that really is meaningful. And so you're dead on when you say, Dad moved in and his number one thing is, I wish I'd come here sooner. I walk through communities all the time.
Yeah.
How do you like living here? What do you think? I wish I'd come sooner. I wish I'd come sooner.
Sure.
Because they actually do get better. And we've all seen those stories of people who've had that fall or that hip replacement, or they've lost a spouse. We've seen them decline, and then they've come into our communities and they blossom. We've seen that, and we take great pride in that, and we know that we're affecting their lives positively. But that really is one of the greatest things that our association is here to do, is to say, this is a lifestyle, and it's a great lifestyle, and it is going to change your life for the better.
Okay, this is a curiosity question, just strictly a curiosity question, because we've talked about long-term care in the context of people who require basically 24-hour nursing assistance in one way or another. What if a person is reasonably physically healthy, but is mentally challenged? There are cognitive issues. There's onset dementia or something like that. We worry a lot about moms and dads with this kind of thing. Are there seniors communities, Allison, in BC that accommodate those sorts of challenges, or do you pretty much have to go look for a government facility to deal with a parent who has cognitive issues?
Well, the answer is yes to both questions.
Oh, okay.
There are lots of funded government communities that offer what we call dementia care, or we call memory care.
Okay.
And there's some private ones as well. And some of our members, as we mentioned earlier, do provide memory care, and you will find now what's so exciting in this domain is that there's so much support and research and new programs that are coming out that really reach in and help reclaim some of those memories, reclaim some of that independence that a lot of our member communities who do provide long-term care, memory care, are really putting in some phenomenal supportive programs that are, again, enriching people's lives.
I got to tell you, I've been to a few communities in the past couple of years at the invitation of many people just like you. And one thing that's impressed me that I've come to understand a little bit more is the degree of emphasis placed on brain health. I mean, yes, the nutrition is there, and yes, the exercises, the Stairmaster, or just walk around the courtyard or whatever. But there are also now far more deliberate plans and activities specifically just to keep your brain engaged. And you said just moments ago, Marlene, that the healthier your brain, the healthier you are. So again, you don't have to be infirm when you move into one of these communities. First and foremost, it would be more fun if you weren't. But even if you were a little under the weather, they're gonna go after not only your physical well-being, but they're going to make sure that your brain is engaged as well, and I like that.
Yeah, we have some of our members. We have stories. They hear stories and that they tell us that, they have seniors that move into their community that moved in that was barely walking. Maybe they were in a wheelchair, and
Right.
then and over 6 or 8 months doing programs like Brain Fitness, like doing Sing Fit, like doing exercise, chair exercises. They have stories to say this person is now walking around without any help. They don't need a walker. They don't need anything.
Right.
Because they have moved and the recreational programs that community has helped that person actively get involved both physically and mentally again, and they've seen unbelievable improvements.
Yeah, well, the emphasis is impressive. You were just going to add something,
Well, I was
Allison?
going to say that each one of these things that we call services and or amenities within our building, active life enrichment, art programs, nutrition, all of that, they're all pillars, and they're all pillars for the foundation of full integration, and they all feed off of each other and build a person up on all these different pillars so that their quality of life improves. So that's why when we reflect back to Better at Home, there's a couple of pillars that are missing in that Better at Home program that our members can provide a holistic approach, and that's why we see the gains physically, cognitively, socially, spiritually, emotionally, exponentially when people choose to live in a communal setting like one of our member communities.
Our guests from the BC Seniors Living Association, Marlene Williams and Allison Howard. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650, and we're back after this.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.